this room is a violation of that court order, being so that Karmelo Anthony's parents are expected to speak here as well. As soon as we have confirmation on that, we'll let you know. But just to recap this quickly, Austin Metcalf's father is in the room at this press conference that was scheduled and made public, that Karmelo Anthony's parents were going to speak, and he has arrived. He has been asked to leave. He is still standing in the room, and we are being told that Dallas police have been called in this situation. We're going to keep you posted on that and keep standing by as we wait for the press conference to start to see what happens with Mr. Metcalf being in the room. And we'll just leave you here with a look at the room, and we'll update you with the information as we get it.
No, I mean, there's a little talk about my stuff after history, but it's like too much to deal with.
Austin Metcalf's father was just asked to leave. I guess it violates some form of court order or something like that. But yeah, they're about to tell us, about all the money and I guess all that. The crazy thing is, it made this man show up. Like, bro. You know what I mean? Like, I don't know. That's crazy. I mean, in a weird way, I guess I hears him. I don't know. They just need to let the courts do what it do. Just waiting, It was supposed to be going up around 11:30. You know, Austin Metcalf's father showed up to the press conference and just, even warned that the boys about to be called and so forth. So we just waiting.
And we are bringing you back here on WFAA Plus to the Next Generation Action Network office in Dallas, where We were expected to hear from the family of
Check.
Karmelo Anthony at about 11 o'clock. It's about 20 minutes past the hour. And we are told that this delay is because unexpectedly, the father of the victim in this case, Jeff Metcalf, the father of Austin Metcalf, has arrived. He's standing there behind that camera. You can kind of see his shoulder there in a blue shirt. We are told that Mr. Metcalf was asked to leave. He has refused to leave. He is still standing there. We're told that Dallas police have been called. If you are unfamiliar with this case, or if you just need to be caught up on it, it's been almost exactly 2 weeks. Yesterday marked 2 weeks since one student was accused of stabbing and killing another student, both Frisco ISD students, at a track meet. The student who passed away was Austin Metcalf, and the student who was accused of killing him is Karmelo Anthony. This case has garnered so much attention, has sparked so much speculation on social media about what started it. You can get a better look on your camera there. These are photos of Jeff Metcalf, who is standing in the room there. But this is a case that has gotten so much attention. And so for the first time today, we were expecting to hear from the parents of the teenager who is accused of killing Austin Metcalf. And what you're looking at on your screen right now is Jeff Metcalf. He is the father of Austin Metcalf. He arrived to this press conference today. He was not expected to be at this press conference. These are photos that were taken by my colleague, Jobin Puneker. And you can see he's standing there. He has sunglasses on. We've seen at least one person go up and try to speak with him. He doesn't really seem to be interacting. These are still photos, but when we were watching the video, he didn't really seem to be interacting with anyone. He's kind of standing in the back of the room, just waiting. Again, was asked to leave, still standing in the room. So we are waiting on an update on what's going to happen with that, as Dallas police have been called. But what we do know is that there was a court order put in place that Anthony, who is the accused killer in this case, was told he could not have any contact with Metcalf's family. This press conference was for Anthony's parents, Karmelo Anthony's parents. It's unclear if he is actually in the building. So it's unclear if Jeff Metcalf being here is a violation of a court order. We just know that Karmelo Anthony is not to have contact with the Metcalf family, indirectly or directly, according to a court order. So we are standing by to get more information on that. But we are told that Jeff Metcalf's presence in this room is the reason that we are late, the reason that we have not started this yet. So we are waiting on information on that. Okay. We have just learned that Karmelo Anthony is actually not in the building. So at this point, it doesn't seem that this would be a violation of a court order. So it's still a bit unclear what the delay is here. Perhaps him just being there is the reason. Okay, we just received information that the Next Generation Action Network, which is the advocacy group that is actually hosting this press conference, has said that they will not start this press conference until Jeff Metcalf leaves this office. So and I'm just getting more and more information about this from our crew that's at the scene here. We're being told that there are no uniformed officers who are on the property at this time. Next Generation Action Network says they have plainclothes officers there, but Dallas police have been called to come here because Jeff Metcalf, the father of Austin Metcalf, has arrived here, and the advocacy group that is, really hosting this press conference says that they will not start the press conference while he is in the room. So we are just standing by. Seems to be a bit of a stalemate at this time. Again, he has been asked to leave. Obviously, he's still standing there. So it's unclear what the resolution will be here. We will keep you updated. We're going to stay here until we see what happens here, and we'll update you. And we just panned in the room there. We're taking a look at the podium at the office. This is where we're assuming when there is a press conference, if there's a press conference, this is where they will be. But what we were looking at, if we're able to pan back, I'll point out to you Jeff Metcalf, who has arrived at this scene, who is the father of the teenager who was killed almost exactly 2 weeks ago at a track meet. Again, this press conference, there he is right there. Those are photos of him standing in the room, again, with sunglasses on, just standing there. He was asked to leave. He said no. He's still standing here. This was a press conference where Karmelo Anthony, the teenager who was accused of committing this offense, his parents were going to address the media for the very first time. And the Next Generation Action Network said that the purpose of this press conference was for them to tell their truth. They feel that there has been misinformation in this case. They feel that there have been what was called a wave of falsehoods in this case. So the purpose of this morning's press conference was for them to essentially set the record straight from their point of view. It seems as if they were not expecting for Mr. Metcalf to be here. They said they are not going to speak until he leaves. Now, what we haven't seen is really any confrontation, really any interaction from Mr. Metcalf since he's arrived here. It's unclear if they've made contact, if they've spoken or anything like that. The only thing we know at this point is that there seems to be a stalemate here with the family saying that they're not going to speak until he leaves, him being asked to leave and choosing not to. So we're going to keep our shot up in this room so you can kind of keep an eye on what's going on. And as soon as we have more information about what comes next, we'll let you know. Yeah, what you're looking at now, these are some still photos that came from the field of the father of Austin Metcalf, the teenager that was stabbed and killed at a track meet 2 weeks ago. This is him in the room, standing with media. If you're just joining us, just going to walk you back through this case. Want to make sure that everyone's familiar with the details of it. Yesterday marked 2 weeks since a student stabbed and killed another student at a track meet, Frisco ISD students, in a case that has really just sparked so much conversation, so much debate on social media, online, not just in North Texas, but really all over, with so many questions about how this started, what led up to this, and tragedy, really, for both families. So for the first time today, there was a press conference that was scheduled to be held by the Next Generation Action Network in Dallas, where the parents of Karmelo Anthony, who is a student who was accused of stabbing the student who passed away, he is facing a murder charge. His parents were going to speak and address the media and set the record straight from their point of view. Of course, that has not started yet. Unexpectedly, the father of the teen who was killed, Jeff Metcalf, father of Austin Metcalf, has shown up and is standing in the room. So that's kind of where we're standing with that right now. Just want to walk you through some updates in this case as we're waiting on. Yeah. Sorry, I'm getting more updates from our producer now. So we're standing by. Jobin Pennicker is actually in the room here. He's the one who was sending these photos. He's been covering this case, and he's actually at the Next Gen office with this. So we're standing by for a live update from him inside of the room. But if you are just joining us,
this is my man. My man
trying to hear from Karmelo Anthony's parents.
Like,
and we are kind of standing by to
you
see
know,
what
y'all let me know.
of Austin Metcalf's father being in the room.
It's
and
the order
his parents saying they're not
for
going
him
to
to stay away from the chair or the family, because
to give us an
if he ain't been arrested yet, if he ain't been arrested yet, I think he's right about being wherever he want to be.
All right. Well, we are being told that Jobin Pennicker is going to be available in just a little bit. So until he is, just want to give you a quick update in this case. You know, earlier this week, actually on Monday, Anthony was released from jail after his bond was lowered, so he is able to be at home. We're told he's not actually at this press conference right now. His parents are expected to speak, and we are hoping to get an update from them if this situation can be resolved with Jeff Metcalf being there. And again, Jobin Pennicker is actually live there, so we're going to take him now.
Yeah, that press conference was supposed to start here at 11 o'clock. We're here in downtown Dallas. This press conference was precipitated by Next Generation Action Network, a Dallas-based advocacy group, speaking on behalf of the Karmelo Anthony family. You know, over the last 2 weeks, we've been getting press statements from them. This was the opportunity to hear from them for the first time. We're now hearing from Dominique Alexander with Next Generation that this press conference has been delayed. I'm going to have Billy Bryant, who's one of our photographers, go out, show you a lot of the people here still waiting for this press conference to happen. And the reason for this delay is because Austin Metcalf's father is here, Jeff Metcalf. As you know, Karmelo Anthony was arrested, charged with murder in the death of Austin Metcalf. Police say Metcalf was stabbed with a knife at a track meet in Frisco. You see there a picture of Jeff Metcalf. He is on his phone. Had a chance to talk with somebody there with Next Generation Action Network. They tell us they've asked Jeff Metcalf to leave. He said no. They said they were going to call DPD to remedy this situation, have Jeff Metcalf leave, because there's, according to Next Generation, they are not going to have both families here in the same location at the same time. They said there's a court order that says that. We've been looking through some of our documents. I don't think there's anything that says that per se. Now there is some language that says Karmelo Anthony cannot have any connection with the Metcalf family in any way. So we're still trying to figure out what's going on here. Still a very fluid situation. Again, a delay here. It's supposed to start at 11 o'clock. It is now after 11:30. We'll see what ends up precipitating here.
Obviously very heightened when you have this situation and both families in the same room when they haven't had this before. So that is understandable. Okay, well, listen, we'll check back in with you. We know you're talking to people, and we'll get to the bottom of it. Thank you so much, Jobin. Okay, so you don't miss any.
You just heard from Jobin Paniker, who is actually live at the Next Gen Action Network office in Dallas. And if you're curious at all about how Jeff Metcalf was able to get in there, just if you've never been there, they actually have an office in a co-working space. So there are other offices in that building as well. So that's probably how he was able to easily get into there. And again, the Anthony family says they're not going to speak while he's there. Next Generation says they don't want both families in the same place. Now, earlier this week on Monday, there was a bond hearing held, and that's where a judge actually lowered Anthony's bond from $1 million to $250,000. We actually went to some in-depth conversation in a special that we produced just on this issue to help walk you through this with some of our reporters who have actually been covering this extensively. And I want to give you a look at that while we wait for an update in this situation.
Thanks for joining us here on WFA Plus. I'm Chris Sadeghi, and we are going to take you inside the hearing, the bond hearing for Karmelo Anthony that happened on Monday morning. There's a lot of public interest on this case. There were no cameras allowed inside the courtroom. So joining me are Jobin Paniker and Brittany Moncrief. The three of us were inside that courtroom, and we're here to really take you through what was said, what you were not able to see and hear because of the ban on cameras. We are going to take you from before the hearing to everything that happened during, and then everything that happened after. And then we have the raw interviews with the DA, the defense attorney, and also the NAACP. I want to start before the hearing. Jobin, you cover Collin County a lot. You've covered a lot of cases at that courthouse. Can you compare the security detail for yesterday's hearing compared to others that you've covered?
So I've been covering Collin County for 12 years, covered some high-profile cases in Collin County, now court trials in Collin County. We had the Grace Ford murder case, toddler who was killed. We had Christina Morris, first missing, then later found dead, that murder case. And then the Billy Shamirmir case, that also had some Collin County connections as well. So this was a bond hearing, and normally bond hearings happen within minutes. And it's usually a stack of papers, and the judge goes through them and says, bond approved for this amount, and they go through a lot of them all on Monday, and they happen, like I said, within minutes. This was not the case, right? We had a setup, we had a media plan. They had a plan for all the media to get there early. There was security. There were 8 to 10 officers, 8 to 10 deputies from the Collin County Sheriff's Department. There, we had to go through 2 sets of metal detectors to get into this bond hearing. Very unlike what I'd normally see.
Yeah, and Brittany, the two families, the Metcalf family and the Anthony family, one thing I observed is the deputies that were there that Jobin mentioned, they had a plan to make sure the families were on different sides of the courtroom, and also leaving the courtroom when it was done, one went after the other to prevent any kind of conflict.
Absolutely. They had pretty much what seemed like a pretty strict schedule. Even when we were waiting in the lobby area right outside the courtroom, we saw Anthony's family be escorted into a side room. And around 8:30 is when they decided to let media in. And then at exactly like 8:40, that's when the family started to go in. And even when we went into the courtroom, we were filed in one by one, and they made sure each seat was filled. Media in the back. We sat right behind Metcalf's family, and then on the opposite side was Anthony's family, the Anthony family.
So once everybody was inside the courtroom, the first thing we were looking for was when Karmelo Anthony was brought into the courtroom. Was there anything about him, his appearance that you observed, or the reaction in the courtroom when he entered? So
before we get into that, I wanted to mention that there were no, as you said, no cameras inside the courtroom, which is normal for Collin County. Right. What's also normal for Collin County is you're not even allowed to have cameras in and around the court, in and around the courtroom. So The only place where you could have cameras was in the lobby. So all of the photographers were out in the lobby. The reporters were out near the courtroom. So we all get escorted in. And there's always this, like, it gets really quiet as soon as the defendant walks in. And in this case, it's Karmelo Anthony, a 17-year-old kid. And he's in a yellow jumpsuit. He's handcuffed, and he's walking in, and it gets really quiet because the families are set. Families are on opposite sides of the courtroom. The media is in the back, and it gets really quiet as soon as he walks in, and then he looks straight at the dais.
Yeah, Brittany, did you observe any emotion or movement or action? From my vantage point, it looked like for pretty much the duration of the hearing, he was pretty stoic, staring straight forward.
Absolutely. The whole time, just straightforward. We didn't see him turn to his family, the other family, nothing at all. One thing that we did notice, though, was Austin Metcalf, his mother, immediately, well, before the hearing even began, you could see her kind of hunched over and someone there kind of comforting her. So it appears as though she might have been crying or pretty emotional during that time. But when Karmelo Anthony came in, it, like Jobin said, it was pretty much quiet, all eyes on him, and he just kept looking straight ahead.
So then Judge Angela Tucker enters the courtroom, and she began the hearing really by pointing out the unique nature of this bond hearing. Some of the things we've talked about, the public interest, some not so great things that the general public is doing, the impacts they're having on this hearing. Jobin, her pregame speech, if you want to call it that, was very interesting. And also that's something from my experience covering courts that you don't always get from a judge being that upfront, that right away.
And she set the tone very early. And she started off by saying, listen, my office has been inundated by emails and calls from the public who are interested in this case. And I need you to understand that I don't have any personal connections with anybody involved in this case. And she also made sure to mention, which is something that's smart that a lot of judges do. She mentions that, one, I don't have any connection, and also I've been randomly assigned for this bond hearing, which is the way Collin County, and I'm assuming a lot of counties do it. Judge Angela Tucker, who has been there for close to, I think, 14, she's been there since 2012 in the 199. Okay, so she's very seasoned. She knows what she's doing. She says, I was randomly assigned this bond hearing. It's very likely when they go through the cycle of judges, it's the administrative judge of Collin County who decides who the next judge is to take on the next matter. It's very likely she may not get the trial if it goes to trial, or any of the pretrial stuff that happens. So she made it very upfront that I was randomly assigned this bond hearing.
And part of that transparency, I don't know if it was what you were about to mention, Brittany, but she made clear that the Metcalf family divorce proceedings, she was very upfront about that she did not know the Metcalfs at the time, didn't even know that this was going to be her case. I think she said just last week she learned. So she got it all out there on the table because she does want to head off any ideas of conspiracy or anything that the public might read into it as being any kind of conflict.
Absolutely. She said she just learned that she was assigned to the case last Monday. And as Jobin said, she went through the whole process of how judges are assigned to the cases. And as you mentioned, she talked about the Metcalf's family, the divorce that Austin Metcalf's family went through back in 2016. And she mentioned how she had no direct connection with that hearing, with that proceeding, and how it was actually handled in auxiliary court. So she laid it all out, no conflicts of interest. And even when it was time to talk about those who might be coming to the stand or speaking, she went through those, she looked through those names and
to approach and get started in a few minutes. Testing 1 2 3. Testing 1 2 3.
Yeah, Larry Likely.
The gentleman that you just saw there on
Agree
your
with
screen
you.
at the podium is
They're
Dominique Alexander.
about to
He is
come
the
out in
president
full
of the
force,
Next
man. They
Generation
only
Action
come out
Network.
when
This is the advocacy
the
group that is actually
situation,
hosting a press
every
conference
now and again,
for
the
the parents of
situation seems to
Karmelo
be
Anthony.
bigger
They've
than
been
normal.
releasing statements for the
As we
family.
get started, so we can put
so
some
he's
I agree with
housekeeping
you 100%.
together. If we can swing over here and swing across the wall. We have security that are here in the building. We have a blended of Dallas Police Department and security for the Next Generation Action Network. Let me make this very clear because I say this unapologetically. The Next Generation Action Network has never played with the safety and security of anything. We don't play those type of games, all right? We like to, whenever we're doing a protest or anything, everybody in the media know we don't play when it comes to safety and security. So we're gonna ask one time for it and ask you to slide over just one time. We're not gonna ask anybody something twice, okay? I will make sure that the safety of this family is ensured. It won't happen on my watch. I just want you to know so that you can quote it. If we have to ask more than once, just know that's coming at the direction of me. You can quote me on that, all right?
You just heard from Dominique Alexander, the president of the Next Gen Action Network. We are expecting to hear from the parents of Karmelo Anthony, the high school student who was accused of stabbing and killing another high school student at a track meet about 2 weeks ago. This press conference was delayed because the father of the student who was killed unexpectedly arrived at the press conference. Originally, the Next Gen Action Network said that the press conference would not go on as long as Mr. Metcalf, Jeff Metcalf, was in the room. It's unclear. I'm trying to get information about if he is still there, how that was resolved. But the president of this organization says that they are starting here in a few minutes. If you did hear what he just said, if you didn't, we'll recap you quickly. Alexander was very clear and did not mince words about security at this event. He said that there are DPD officers as well as private security in the premises. They are here. He said he was very, very clear in saying that they were only going to ask once for safety precautions to be taken. And he said, that is their big priority with this press conference. Again, unclear if Mr. Metcalf is still in the room. If you are just joining us, this is a case that has created so much speculation over the past 2 weeks. You have one family whose child is accused of murder for stabbing another student, and another family who is mourning the loss of their son. And today we are expected to hear from the parents of the child who has been accused. To get their side of the story. The group that's advocating for them says that they want to set the record straight. We're getting an update now on whether or not Mr. Metcalf is still in the room. So we've just learned that Mr. Metcalf, Jeff Metcalf, the father of Austin Metcalf, the teen who was killed, has left the premises. I mentioned to you a few moments ago, the Next Gen Action Network's office is actually inside of a co-working space. The owner of that co-working space asked Mr. Metcalf to leave, saying that he was trespassing, and we are told that Mr. Metcalf has left. Dominique Alexander, the president of the organization hosting this press conference, says they are expected to start in a few minutes. No word yet on any interaction that happened between Metcalf and the Anthony family, between Next Generation Action Network. We are told that a representative did ask him to leave initially, and he said no. But we are, again, being told that the owner of this space said that he was trespassing and asked him to leave. So we're seeing different people come up to the podium, check audio levels. That is standard for a press conference like this. We were told by the group hosting this that it will start in a few minutes. And we, again, are expecting to hear for the first time addressing the media, the Anthony family, to get their perspective, their thoughts, setting the record straight, addressing what they call falsehoods in this case, as so many people have been discussing it as their son is accused of murder in this case. So we will keep an eye on this, update you with any information as we get it, and listen in when we can.
That's what I'm seeing.
We're gonna wait it out, y'all. We're gonna wait it out. Sound like they got Jeff out the building. That's Metcalf starts passing. We're gonna wait it out, see what this fan got to say. Thanks for tapping in with us. Leave a comment.
All right, guys and girls, about a minute. Sorry for the wait, you know, I like drama, right?
Sound like 1 minute, y'all. Naturally.
Check, test 1 2, mic check, test 1 2. Thank you.
If you take a look at your screen now, what you are looking at is video of Jeff Metcalf being escorted out of the co-working space where the Next Gen Action Network's office is by Dallas Police. You see that there. Jeff Metcalf, the gentleman who was wearing the sunglasses and the blue shirt, who's being escorted out, is the father of Austin Metcalf, who was the teenager who was stabbed and killed at track meet 2 weeks ago. He is being asked to be escorted out of a press conference that is being held where the parents of the child who was accused of killing Metcalf's child are expected to speak. You can see there he's shaking hands with officers. He was asked to leave. That press conference is starting now. Here's Anthony's family.
Hello. Back door. Okay, I'm gonna spread this across y'all before I get started.